Hello, my name is Sarah Barmer and welcome to AI That Works. Today I'm interviewing Adrien Thomas. Adrien has been an expert in AI for more than 2 years and has so much to share with us in the space of AI generated searches. There is so much here for you to learn. It is such an exciting topic and I cannot wait for you to hear about how to get ahead with AI searches in your business. Let's go. Adrien, thank you so much for joining me on AI That Works. We are super excited to hear everything that you've been up to. We have been chatting for a while now, and I know that things have changed so much in the world of AI, and I want to hear how everything is going from you. And firstly, if you can tell everyone where you are and what you've been doing.
Sure. First, thanks for having me, Sarah. So yeah, I'm Adrien. I'm 37 now. Time flies. I'm French, obviously. I guess you can hear it, and your audience can hear it as well. I'm based in Thailand, but been in Southeast Asia, previously in Singapore for 5 years, since 2020. And I'm the co-founder of AEO SEO agency named Crescendo. And I guess we're going to talk about this today.
We are. So tell me, why AI? How did it happen? How do you end up in AI land and how do you end up in Crescendo?
Well, so there is two questions in this question. So first, how I ended up in the AI, I guess it was just after ChatGPT was released public, so late 2022, let's say, if I'm correct, right? So back in the days, I was still the managing director for IT consulting firm in Singapore. We were a small team still, so I was still looking for solution to help me on a daily basis to achieve more without growing my headcount, of course, right? And so I started using ChatGPT almost every day, right, to speed up everything I was doing. And when I was showing up to friends, people, clients, what I was doing with AI, they were quite amazed, right? And I saw basically the potential, like you did. And I decided with a friend of mine that is now my co-founder to found Crescendo in 2024. Previously, it was what we call an AI agency. So basically helping other businesses to leverage AI. And recently, this year, July this year, we decided to only focus on AEO, which is how to be visible on AI platform.
And that is so interesting because the journey, I think, for anyone in AI at the moment has not been a very stable one. Tools are changing all the time. It is a full-time job keeping up with the changes and the tools. So let's just break it down a bit, which is something I really like to do. Talk to me about AI, what it means for you and how you explain it to companies. And then as the second part of that, let's talk about GEO or AEO. So let's start with AI. What does it mean for businesses?
Well, the way I used to explain AI to businesses, actually, first, it's a technology, so it's not going to be magic. It's not going to solve all your problems, right? It just, at the moment, again, because it's evolving extremely fast, another tech, another potential solution to your problem, right? It's like having a new stuff for a fraction of its cost. At the end of the day, ChatGPT only costs $20 a month if you stay on the plus plan, right? But still, you need to start focusing on problem, your process. AI is not going to fix your process, basically. So fix your process, use AI as a solution, right? So that's the first part, I guess, of the question. That's how I used to explain AI to people, basically.
Do you find, just on that kind of magic pill, that there still is a bit of a expectation management exercise that you are doing with businesses? Because there is this perception, especially with the creative tools, that it is magic, because it does sort of look a bit magic-like. You know, you do one thing, click one button, upload one picture, and you've got a video. And in some cases that is possible, right? However, in processes, in businesses, with actually taking over parts of people's jobs, there's a bit more to it.
Yeah, and actually, there is a lot of education to be done. The problem is you have a lot of people like promising the moon with AI because of videos, because of the content they create. And I used to have a lot of clients going, let's say, to YouTube, watching a 10-minute video breakdown about how to make, I don't know, like an AI email agent, and then they think it's going to be magic, we can do it in one day, and it's going to work. It doesn't, right? Again, AI projects are IT projects, right? At the end of the day, so you're going to face the exact same challenges, the exact same problems, the exact same issues than for a regular IT project. So lots of education needs to be made. You need to manage the expectation from day one. I guess also the main issue is like people can use ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is extremely powerful. Of course, right? You have like hundreds of people working on it. It has been trained on billions and billions of data. When you try to do something tailored, something custom for a client, of course you can use the API from ChatGPT, but you're not going to have the full power of ChatGPT at the end of the day. So you can't replicate exactly the same things and the exact same experience. And unfortunately, clients expect the same.
Absolutely. And so when you are working with businesses at the moment, before we move on to AEO and this kind of second part of your journey, what are you finding is getting the best results or the best outcomes from a practical standpoint? So let's just say I'm a new business talking to you and I said, Adrien, with the exception of search, what's something that I should be doing in my business that AI can do well?
That's a good question. Actually, that's a very bad question at the same time, because when I have a client, not your question, but if I have a client asking me what AI can do for me, to me that's a very bad question, because it should be the opposite. It should be what's your problem? What are your problems at the moment, right? And then we're going to see if AI can be a potential solution. Maybe a regular automation can be a solution, right? Maybe first revamping, redesigning your process is going to be a solution. So AI is more like a mean, not the end, as we say, right? But it's more like the last step of the process. So I don't really like answering this question, like what AI can do for me, because it can do everything. It's not going to solve your problem at the end of the day.
What is the problem it can solve that you find is most common?
Again, to me, it really depends on the companies. I was talking about the AI email agent. Yes, it can help you to better manage your emails. But again, it's not that simple, because it depends on the company. It depends on what kind of emails you want to manage with AI. Is it like your everyday email? Is it sort of like customer support, like ticketing, stuff like that, right? So some use cases are easier than others. Concrete example, I got one client wanted to have like an AI email agent, but to answer everything. But to be able to answer everything, you need to have a proper knowledge base, right? You need to have access to some data or to some information to properly answer to your clients or prospect email, right? But he didn't have it. So first we had to work on this knowledge base, and it takes time, because most of clients, they have everything in their head, not on proper document, right? So that's why I'm saying it looks very easy on paper, in theory, but in reality, practically, it's not.
If you're like me and you're on all of the different channels every night before I go to bed, it's very unrelaxing. I'm looking at Instagram, I'm looking at Facebook, and obviously everything in my algorithm is AI related. And then I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at that, and everything, and LinkedIn, everything is a new magical AI tool. So you can only imagine, we're educated and we know the limitations to some extent. You're like, oh, I should try that. And then you find out, it does or doesn't work. And then you realize that your clients are getting smashed with the same information. It's hard to see. It's hard to kind of know, to not be paralyzed by the overwhelm. But also it's important that expectations are managed. You need to get your backyard in order. And I think that's a really nice segue into search, because it's everywhere at the moment, and I think it's very topical, and I think it's probably one of the easiest things to advocate for in business, because even though we're at the beginning of the journey, by 2028, this is where it's going to be at. I think they said 9% of all searches in American search engines are now through a large language model. And so, that is a significant portion of people. It's not Google yet, but it's getting there and it's brand new. So talk to me about AEO and GEO. What is the difference? Well,
Our
firstly,
first,
AI search. So
well,
how AI search, talk to me about that. How does it work? What is it?
but firstly, something very important you just said before. We are smashed with a lot of new stuff about AI. So for example, recently, the moment we record this video, Sora 2 just been released. So now you have Sora 2 video everywhere. It's gonna kill Hollywood. It's gonna make like actors and actresses jobless. Blah blah blah. It's not. But yeah, it's very difficult to really focus on what works, what doesn't, because you got like YouTube, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, whatever, content everywhere. So first I would say, like a kind of advice, is to really just focus on what you want to do as a business. And that's why for like companies and clients, focus on your problem first, right?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to catch all the new shiny solution popping up everywhere. Moving to AI visibility, AI search, to me the main differences compared to the AI video models or the MCP or DeepSeek in February, stuff like that, it's a huge change in behavior, right? And you can see it because I guess you are now also using Perplexity, ChatGPT, your favorite LLMs for search, less and less traditional search. And most of people do. So most of people can relate to this, right? It's not just a trendy topic. It's a strong shift in users' behavior. So it's here to stay. It's not a trend. It's not a bubble. It's not something that's going to stop in a few months. It's really here to stay. So to me, that's the main difference, and that's very important for most of people to understand. It's here to stay. Having said that, what is AI search? It's quite simple. Tonight, you are looking for a new restaurant in town, right? So let's say I'm based in Bangkok. At the moment, looking for a new French restaurant, right? Let's make it very cliche, right? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT, or maybe I'm gonna go to Twitter, X, because to me it's more the way I use Twitter for this kind of stuff. And I'm just gonna type what are the best French restaurants in a specific area of Bangkok, let's say for under $100 US, right? It's gonna give me results. And that's basically AI search and AI visibility. You need to be in the names your favorite LLM is going to recommend. Otherwise, you're going to be invisible to your potential buyers, your potential customers, your potential users' eyes, and you're going to lose revenue at the end of the day. So it's as simple as that. And I love to say that AI LLMs are like a good friend of you.
Yeah.
You're going to ask him for restaurants. He's going to provide you with 3-4 recommendations. You will choose one of these 3-4 recommendations. You're not going to search elsewhere. Exactly the same for ChatGPT, because that's the way people use ChatGPT, like a good friend, basically.
Yeah. You can talk to it.
You can talk to it, and actually, sadly or not, I don't judge. That's not the point. But yeah, most of people are considering ChatGPT like a friend, right? So if ChatGPT tells you go to ABC restaurant, you're gonna go.
Yeah.
In one of these options.
I looked at something relating to AI search traffic, and it said that the likely or the value of an AI search click or recommendation, the traffic is going to stay on your site 4 times longer than a normal search, which I think is really interesting because it goes back to your point about it being a good friend recommending you something. It's less transactional. It feels less transactional. I guess the way that the information comes through feels less like an ad. It feels more like an organic recommendation, effectively. How, in terms of businesses, you talked about restaurants, and I get that, restaurants have, and locations with bricks and mortar, especially with maps, they need to be everywhere. They need to be in Google. They need to have Google Maps. They need to be in AI searches now. What about, let's talk about the Shopify integration. into ChatGPT and how that's going to change the way we shop?
That's a very good topic. And coming back to what we discussed like a few minutes, it's brand new. So I don't want to make any conclusion on this because it's still videos, demo, like, okay, everything is amazing. Look at how amazing it is. But yeah, we can see how it goes, how it's going to move forward basically on this. So tomorrow, concrete example about myself. I recently started paddle, right? I don't know how to play tennis. I used to play squash. So I started paddle, right?
You started
In
what? What do you play?
paddle, paddle.
What's paddle?
Oh, paddle. You know tennis, you know
Sport.
squash. Oh, it's
Yeah.
one of the most popular sport in the world at the moment.
Has it
It's
made it
like
to
having like a,
Australia?
I hope so. Otherwise, there is a huge business potential. So it's PADEL.
Okay.
So imagine like a bit smaller tennis court
Okay.
with glass wall around, right? So it's a mix of squash and tennis, basically. Way easier to play than both of these sports. Less demanding, physically speaking. But I mean, go to ChatGPT, ask about paddle, basically. But so I started paddle. I just played 1 hour with a friend.
Yeah.
Got hooked. So then I went uh, to ChatGPT because I need a racket and I need proper shoes, right? At the moment, what ChatGPT is doing is recommending you option, right? And link to e-commerce website. So you have this one to Adidas, you have this one to Nike, you have this one to Decathlon, whatever, right? But what I need to do as a user, I still need to click on this website and finalize my checkout and my purchase onto the website. What we can see tomorrow, it's like, no, tomorrow we're going to get directly the product in ChatGPT with a buy or checkout purchase button, and we should be able to buy directly from ChatGPT. So that's, again, a total shift in terms of how we purchase, how we buy product online. That's from a user perspective. From a company's perspective, again, if you are invisible to LLM's eyes, you're going to lose revenue because tomorrow people's going to buy directly in LLMs, right? So you need to be there, basically. So that's the impact.
And it also, sorry to interrupt, it also brings about a point that I heard a long time ago about websites. So that websites of the future are effectively information. They're less about the user experience on your website and it's more about how is your website fueling the LLM. Because if your products and your inventory and the information, it's not information rich on your site and you're not keeping up with it, then what is it going to pull from?
That's, to me, there is multiple benefit to focus on AI visibility. First, of course, it's lead generation, revenue generation. If you are recommended into ChatGPT, you're gonna generate leads. And actually, coming back to some numbers you said before, AI traffic converts extremely well based on the studies that we have. On average, or let's say the market data, it's like AI traffic only represents 0.5%, so not even 1% of your total traffic, right? But it drives 10% of your revenue. So it converts really, really hard. Ahrefs studies said it was 4.4 times higher than regular traffic.
Yeah.
SEMrush was 23 times higher. So it depends, but it converts way better than the organic traditional traffic. That's very important.
And it's kind of like a no-brainer because even though at the moment in countries, especially like Australia, it's taking a while to get, it's not taking all of Google's, it's not stealing all of Google's lunch, right? But it's creeping up, it's having few little bites. The traffic that you get through the large language models is a much higher value visitor, as you say,
Yeah.
with a higher propensity to purchase, engage, transact, with a higher propensity to stick around and try and get more information from your business. So why wouldn't you do it?
That's a good question. And First objection is like you still have a lot of companies that fully focus on traffic and traffic only. So they are traffic driven. What they want is more traffic. And at the moment, again, LLMs, ChatGPT is not going to bring you lots of traffic. Again, it's not even 1% of your total traffic. So if you expect LLMs to drive traffic, it's not going to happen. So it shouldn't be your focus. Your focus, it's like, okay, how my conversion rate is growing, how my revenue is growing, right? And actually, again, like based on studies, right, companies that are focusing on AEO, focusing on AI visibility, they see their conversion rate doubling up, basically, right? Like from 2.2% on average up to 5%, because now they attract, they generate more high intent qualified leads onto their website.
So I had a client the other day, or actually it wasn't a client, it's a hopefully soon to be client, say to me, I heard that there are things you can do to manipulate the data so you get recommended. A plugin. I have never
Heard of it.
I don't even understand how it could possibly work because the models are trained on so much data, like the whole internet of data. So I guess the only way that you could do it is by creating a whole lot more valuable content about the thing that you're trying to sell, which is really in SEO land too, in a slightly different way. But it's kind of going back to the traditional roots of SEO and having good blogs, good content, fresh content, being active on socials, being active with everything that you're creating and doing. You need to become more of a content factory. That's the only way you can manipulate the outcome.
I do agree. Again, at the moment, there is a lot of things being said on this. First, again, it's not an advice, but if someone's telling you SEO is dead, run away. Right? Even if we are AEO or GEO, first, and actually it was a question I didn't answer before, so I can do it now. Yeah, you have in terms of vocabulary, you have AEO for answer engine optimization, you have GEO for generative engine optimization, you have AI SEO, LLM SEO. Personally, and with my co-founder, we don't care. We call it AEO because we tend to find it the more accurate, because for us it's being the answer now, right? Being recommended, being an answer to the user question. But at the end of the day, our clients, they don't care. What they want to be recommended, they want to be mentioned on LLMs. So let's call it AI visibility, basically. Being visible, being mentioned, being recommended on AI platform. Whether it's ChatGPT, AI overview now, Perplexity, that are the three main ones, basically. Manipulation, to me, there is no way at the moment, or actually, yeah, you can manipulate how ChatGPT is going to answer to your question, but the same way you manipulated the SERP for SEO, right? Yes, you're gonna write content that's gonna answer directly people's question being the prompt they're gonna type in ChatGPT, right? And that's the main differences between SEO, which is related to keyword, and AEO, which is related to prompt or user's question, right? So create content in a way that is going to answer very clearly this question, right? So content again, and being an authority on your domain everywhere on the web. So not only on your blog, but also on the sources, trusted sources AI platforms are using. And so we heard a lot about, go ahead. Sorry.
My other.
Yeah, so we heard a lot about, like in terms of sources, we heard a lot about Wikipedia, of course, for ChatGPT. We heard about Reddit. There is a thing about Reddit at the moment. LinkedIn as well is a good sources, actually used by LLMs. So there is multiple sources. So your job, if you want to focus on AI visibility, is to make sure your name is present, is mentioned in these sources that AI use. Basically, you're looking at authority, context, trusted signal on across the web, across different sources and platforms.
If you think about Google's strategy, so we work with Google and we work with people on paid ads, and we were talking to Google about a release they've got coming up in the next couple of weeks, which relates to overviews AI overviews, which we know get a much better click-through rate than now anything else, which, you know, makes it a little bit harder for SEO. What do you think is going to happen with the whole Google piece and the AI overviews? How do you start to influence them so that you don't lose your Google footprint, given that it's still a massive traffic source, but you also are nodding to what else is happening in large language world?
Just to make things in perspective, ChatGPT, it's 1 billion queries per day. Google, it's 14 billion queries per day. Yeah, so just to put things in perspective, ChatGPT represents something like 1 billion queries per day, right, daily. Google, 14 billion queries per day. So you can't just ditch Google, right? And that's why you can't ditch SEO at the moment, right? So yes, Google search is plateauing, let's say growing still a bit, but plateauing. And ChatGPT is growing a lot. Perplexity as well is also growing a lot. So you can't pass on them. So my advice is you still need to focus on Google. You still need to focus on SEO. That's your foundation for your online visibility. By doing so, you're going to be visible on AI overviews because, again, at the moment, AI overviews used a lot of the Google SEO ranking. So basically, if you have very good SEO foundation, you should appear on AI overviews. Again, to a point, right?
Yeah.
Which is very different for ChatGPT and Perplexity because they are using different sources, they are using a different methodology.
So let's talk a bit more about that. What is the difference between the good old-fashioned Google SEO search ranking and what they're now doing with Gemini and AI searches, and how that reflects in the normal traditional the Google interfaces AI overviews versus everything else?
Well, for the traditional SEO, again, you are talking about keywords. So everything you do is keyword related and backlinks, right? So Google being Google, they love releasing tons of products. So yes, you have AI overviews, you have AI mode now, and you have Gemini on top of that. So basically you have three different interfaces even if they're all powered by Gemini at the end of the day, but you still have three different interfaces to interact with the Google AI ecosystem. So it's still unclear because it has been released quite like earlier this year, basically, not a long time ago, how all these things works in the Google ecosystem. So that's why at the moment for our client, when it comes to Google, we strongly continue to work on the SEO side of it because it gives result on the AI ecosystem of Google. For ChatGPT or Perplexity, it's very different because again, we're talking.
I don't even know how that happened. My phone is turned off. I'm sorry.
Okay, so ChatGPT and Perplexity, they are working in a different way. They are doing a Bing query or a Google query, right? And they get all the sources from Google, right? So it's like ChatGPT is entering the Google library of sources, but then they are making their own decisions whether they're going to use these sources or these sources or these sources. And this decision making is what makes the entire difference between SEO and AEO. Because if ChatGPT, let's say, doesn't trust the top 3 of Google, they're not going to use it. Whether Google, well, you try to be top 3, top 5, first page of the SERP, basically. So that's the main differences, and that's why you can't use the same tactic for Google SEO and for ChatGPT AEO.
That's a good explanation, thank you. I think with the way that search is going, and probably it's one of the quickest and easiest ones to start businesses to start adopting so that they can try and get ahead of the curve. What do you say to your clients that are, or to businesses that are like, oh, we'll just wait for our competitors to do it and then we'll see how they go? What is your view? What's going to happen to them if they wait?
Well, first, I have, let's say, we have two types of clients to answer your question. We have clients, they basically start from nothing. Let's say brand new business, fresh business, so there is nothing that has been done previously on online visibility. So we need to build the foundation. So what I would say to these companies, it's we need and you need to start building your online visibility foundation. So to start focusing on SEO. And in parallel, we can start working a bit on your AI visibility, right? So basically, we're going to start putting mentions. We're going to start working on authority signals for LLMs in parallel. But I will say in terms of ratio, it should be something 70% SEO, 30% AEO, right? Then we have clients that are they already have a very good SEO foundation, but still they remain invisible on LLMs. And that's where it starts to be quite important for them to start focusing on AEO. So for this client, what we are telling them is like, continue to do what you are doing on SEO. Don't ditch SEO, never, right? But start putting effort, investment on AEO. So it should be more like 50-50 in terms of your budget, basically. And so if you don't do it, what's going to happen? Your competitors or some of your competitors are going to do it. So they're going to be visible everywhere. Everywhere means they're still going to be visible on traditional search, Google, and they're going to be visible on AI platforms. So basically, if tomorrow they have a part of their potential customers going to Google, they're going to find them. They go to ChatGPT Perplexity, they're going to find them as well. So they're going to get more market share. They're going to get most of the leads. And you as a business, well, you're never going to see these leads, right? You're going to lose revenue, as simple as that. And so potentially your business, without being too dramatic here.
That did sound quite dramatic, actually. But I'm with you. I feel like it's going to be very hard to close the gap. It's like those that first understood SEO and the equity that they built by being first and being clever and getting on it first. It's the same thing all over again. If you start doing it now, whether you're B2B, whether you're e-commerce, if you want to be found by a customer and you want them to contact you for whatever it is, a sale, a conversation, even for service-based industries, and you want them to pick you above the competition, you need to have a presence. Otherwise,
Exactly.
Unless you're planning on meeting everyone in person, it's going to be very hard. So I think, as you say, having your foundation set up, having the right attitude, and accepting that this is the new way, and it's not hype. It's evidenced that it's growing, and 1 billion searches a day is cannot be argued with. That is fact.
And that's super important what you say. It's like you need to be visible, you need to be present everywhere your audience, your target customers, your prospect are. If you don't think they are on AI platform, that's your choice, right? I guess you're wrong because the data is there to back it up and more people are using it. And actually, I guess now in 70%, I would say, of the first discovery call I have with my prospect, so 70% of them telling me we already got clients coming from ChatGPT, for example, because they're asking the question, right? So it's real, so they can relate, so they understand the power of it. But if you don't think your audience is on ChatGPT, because I don't know, they are 65 plus, for example, right? My mother never gonna use ChatGPT. I guess she doesn't even know what it is, all right? Fine, don't focus on this. Like, if you don't think your audience is on TikTok or Facebook, you're not going to do TikTok ads or Facebook ads, right? So exactly the same. So at the end of the day, it's like, where do you want to be visible, right? And this strategy needs to be driven by knowing your audience and where your audience is, as simple as that. But I can bet that your audience, a part of your audience, is on LLMs, for sure.
I think so too, but I can bet that the majority of them have not started to do anything.
82%.
AEO,
Actually.
And I actually can't understand why. That's my thing at the moment. I don't know why, because it's so there's I guess, trends indicating that at least 50% of all search traffic will be via LLMs, if not sooner than 2028. Your business has to get onto it by then anyway. So at end of 2025. The people who start now will have an advantage that will be very hard to close over the next 3 years. Yeah, 3 years, if not sooner. And consequently, focusing on things like content, the way that people are searching. I think audio, I'm very bullish on audio. I think we talked about it before. You chat to ChatGPT, sometimes not as a friend, but you're chatting. Some people think it's a friend or a girlfriend or whatever they think it is. But people are starting to do a lot more search queries that are audio driven. And I think to be thinking about the content that you're putting out there and ensuring that that's going to be picked up in a voice search as well is very important.
Audio, videos as well. So videos actually are extremely important. They represent 13%, so 13% of the total sources used by AI platform in general. So to me, videos should be part of your content mix. So you have the textual content, like your blog articles, right? You have the messages posted on Reddit, Quora, whatever, talking about you. You have your Wikipedia page. Potentially tomorrow, audios. At the moment, there is no data to back it up. Like for example, those podcasts, audio podcasts on the podcast platform are used by LLMs. There is no evidence of that at the moment. Videos, they are actually, which makes sense because, well, YouTube owners, it's still Google, right? So of course, Google's going to push YouTube's videos, and because the LLMs still rely on, again, the library of content from Google, they're going to use videos as well. So actually, I guess it's Perplexity, if I'm correct, that is using videos quite a lot to generate an answer. But coming back to your question, sorry, Sarah, why is it so obvious to you and companies don't go for it still, right? I mean, I understand. First, we are extremely early. So again, like we talked about AI at the very beginning, we are still in an educational phase at the moment. Some businesses, they don't understand it. They don't see the value of it, which again I can hear. I can hear. Some others don't understand the differences with SEO. So again, it's a part of the education. Some others, they want traffic. LLMs doesn't bring traffic. Some others think that just by continue to do what they have been doing for the past years, it's going to work, which is true to a point, right? So we are still very early, so I can understand. Only 18% of the businesses globally are focusing on AEO or starting to put like some investment on AEO, meaning to say 82% doesn't do it, right? Mm-hmm. So we are still very early, and yes, if you do it now, you're going to take a strong edge on the competition.
Absolutely. I really don't believe it's going to be one of those things that you can just kick back and wait to see what happens. It's going to be so important. And as we discussed, the traffic is so valuable. So valuable.
You can. I mean, like, I was too young back in the days, but when SEO happened, I'm pretty sure like most of the companies didn't believe in it, right? Yeah. Recently, e-commerce. A lot of retailers didn't really believe in e-commerce, right? Or didn't want to invest in an e-commerce website. Then COVID happened, and suddenly they had to catch up. It was very painful, very costly, right? Because they had to catch up. So I would say to a business, yes, you don't have to do it now. But if you had to catch up in 3 years down the line because 50% of the searches happen on AI, I don't know the correct numbers, no one knows, right? It's just projection, right? Mm-hmm. You can still catch up. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
It's going to be hard.
Still doable. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's like building an e-commerce website in a month during COVID, because otherwise you can't sell your product, right? You can still do it. But the companies that are going to do it for you is going to charge 10 times more, of course, right? So say.
I think we've covered a lot, and it's been such a good chat. I've really enjoyed it, and it's been so important to have you on the show, and to the other people that I'm also talking to, because I feel like we are early, and businesses are just getting their head around what is happening, and it's great to have it broken down in a way that people really understand. So thank you so much for coming along. Have you got any parting words for us?
Not really. Again, my conclusion is like, first, don't believe everything you see on the internet. Like everything starting with SEO is dead or whatever is dead, run away. Most of the times they are trying to sell you something which is most of the time quite bad. SEO is still very important, so do not ditch SEO, but start investing on your AI visibility because it's not a trend, right? That's a strong shift in people's behavior, and I guess even you as a potential clients, as a company, you can relate because you are using ChatGPT, you can see the power of it, and you can see how it's going to continue to move forward with the Shopify integration and the fact that tomorrow you're going to be able to buy directly in ChatGPT.
Which is exciting.
Yeah, which is exciting, of course, but it's going to require a lot of investment from the retailers to be visible there. And I guess the early adopters is going to win a huge share of the market.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Adrien, for coming.
Thanks,
you for
Sarah,
being
for having me.
And we will no doubt put your details in the description, and if anyone needs any help with AEO, you're the guy.
I guess I am.